Stealing from someone else to escape his own problems. Was that really the kind of life he wanted to live? No. Things might be tough right now, painfully so, but he still had hope. He believed that God hadn't brought them this far to abandon them now. With that conviction in his heart, he dialed the number. The woman answered immediately, and he could hear her crying softly on the other end. "Hello, did you by any chance forget something on the bus today?" Epheani asked. "Yes. Oh my God, yes. Please, whoever you are, wherever you are, please return the box to me." Knock, knock. Who dey this house? Anybody home? Epheani, Madam Ogechi. The landlord's hoarse voice echoed through the compound as he banged hard on the door, disturbing the early Sunday peace. He was a short, unpleasant-looking man in his 50s, known for his harshness and impatience when it came to collecting rent. His yelling quickly attracted attention. Everyone in the compound, a face-me-I-face-you building with 15 tenants, knew just how wicked the man could be when his rent wasn't paid. The house, located in a local area of Aba, had 5 self-contained rooms, while the rest were single-room units. In one of the room and parlor units lived Madam Ogechi, her late husband, and their 2 children, 25-year-old Epheani and 15-year-old Ujunwa. Until her husband fell mysteriously ill 2 months ago and drained their entire savings, Ogechi had always paid her rent promptly. Sadly, he died and was buried just 3 days ago, leaving the woman broken and financially stranded. "If Una no open this door now, I swear, I go break am," the landlord threatened. Just then, Epheani opened the door. He stepped out, tall and fair, visibly exhausted, with disheveled hair that hadn't seen a haircut in weeks. "Good morning, Oga Landlord," he greeted with a weary yawn. "And what is good about this morning, eh?" the landlord barked, pointing a stubby finger at him. "Where is my money? 3 months' rent. The last time I came here, your mother said her husband was in the hospital. Well, now he's dead and buried. I want my rent." Epheani's expression darkened, but he kept his voice calm. "Oga Landlord, my father was just buried 3 nights ago. We'll pay you." "Hey, no bring that your English come here," the landlord interrupted. "I want my money now, or Una go pack komot for this house." At that moment, Madam Ogechi stepped out. Her face was pale and weary, grief clearly weighing her down. "Ah, you don't show?" The landlord turned to her. "Oya, bring my money. No tell me story. I hear say some people give you condolence money." "Oga Landlord, that's enough," Epheani snapped. "Stop insulting my family." "Epheani, go inside. I'll handle it," his mother said gently, placing a calming hand on his shoulder. The landlord snorted. "You think saying a school day help person? Your papa waste all him money train Una. Now he don't die. All of Una still they squat with your mama. Me way send my boys go. Onitsha market get better sense pass 'em. I want my money today, or Una go see another side of me." Ogechi didn't respond immediately. She waited until his rant ended before speaking softly. "Good morning, sir. How's your wife and children?" The landlord, stunned by her calm tone, blinked and suddenly went quiet. Her gentleness disarmed him. "Please, sir," she continued, "I understand that the burial is no excuse for not paying rent, but I beg you to be patient with a poor widow." The landlord scratched his head and grumbled, "I go give Una just 4 more days. If I no see my money, the next time I come, now with my boys, your load go meet you for outside." He stormed off. Madam Ogechi," Mami Amara called from her doorway, wrapping her faded ankara tighter around her chest. She lived opposite, a young woman in her 30s with 1 child and a husband who rode Okada for a living. "I still no understand the spirit where you dey use calm that short man down. Anytime he come vex like say him one blow, you go just calm him down." Madam Ogechi smiled faintly. I don't join him in his madness. Someone has to be the bigger person, but I fear he won't be lenient next time. Mummy Amara sighed. This economy no easy at all. Even my daughter Amara, I had to beg her teacher to let her stay in school. Just take 'em easy, he go better. I believe, Ogechi replied, heading back inside where her children were waiting anxiously in the parlor. Mummy, what did he say? Ujunwa asked the moment she walked in. Ogechi sighed heavily and sat down. He gave us 4 days. If we don't pay, he'll throw us out. That man is wicked, Ujunwa snapped. We never owed rent when Papa was alive. Even they pay extra sometimes. Now he's gone. The landlord can't even give us a few months' grace. People are heartless. Epheani clenched his jaw, glancing between his sister and their mother. He felt useless. At 25, he still couldn't provide for them. He'd only finished school last year and hadn't gone for NYSC because he hadn't completed his clearance. Mummy, don't worry. I'll get the money before the deadline. And where will you find N150,000 in 4 days? Ujonwa scoffed. Your teaching job only pays N30,000, and it's not even month end yet. Are you planning to steal? I told you I'll handle it, he replied. Handle it how? Enough, both of you, Ogechi cut in. Epheani, don't stress yourself. I'll go back to my shop tomorrow. Maybe I can sell a few things. We'll move into one of the single rooms. Rent is just N60,000. Mom, how can we live in a single room and share a toilet with everyone else? Ujunwa whined. Would you rather sleep on the street? Her mother shot back. Silence fell in the room. Epheani spoke again. What if I ask Chibuike for help? At the mention of her first son, Ogechi's face fell. Chibuike had always been selfish, more concerned with himself than his family. Don't bother, she said quietly. We'll figure it out. Seeing there was no use arguing further, Epheani nodded, but his mind was already racing, determined to find a solution. So you don't have anything for us at all? The landlord is threatening to throw us out, and Mama's business isn't bringing in money anymore. You know everything was spent on Papa's burial. Epheani kept explaining to his elder brother over the phone. Epheani, I don't have any money right now, came Chibuike's voice from the other end. You know I also contributed to Papa's burial, and all I had left went into paying my daughter's school fees. I'm really broke, he finished with a deep sigh. I know, but... Hello? Hello? Epheani pulled the phone from his ear and saw that the network had disconnected the call. He had run out of airtime. He scratched his head in frustration and tried to borrow airtime again, but he had already exceeded his limit. With a heavy heart, he walked into a shop across the road, bought a sachet of water with the last card in his wallet, and sat on the pavement near the shop to rest for a little while. All afternoon, he had visited his friends, begging them to lend him some money, but none of them agreed to help. He had even gone to his school and pleaded with the headmistress to pay him 2 months' salary up front after explaining his predicament. But she gave him a series of excuses, how many students were still owing her, and that she didn't have the money. He knew she was lying. He decided within himself to resign after receiving that month's salary. After all, he worked so hard and was paid so little. He taught chemistry and physics from SS1 to SS3, and yet all they could pay him was N30,000. Epheani sighed deeply. He knew that allowing his mother to return to her bush market business might worsen her health condition, and that would only lead to more problems. But how was he supposed to raise N150,000 in just 3 days? As he sat thinking, his eyes fell on his phone, an Infinix Note 30, a birthday gift from his father just last year, before he became ill. Epheani still missed his father terribly, but he knew he had to be strong. He had made a promise on his father's deathbed to take care of his mother and younger sister, and he was willing to keep that promise. With that conviction, Epheani headed to St. Michael's, a market where phone dealers operated, to pawn his phone. He planned to sell it and buy a cheaper one. "Guy, how much you go give me for this phone?" he asked the first dealer he met. The dealer, a man in his late 20s, collected the phone and examined it. Seeing it was still in good condition, he looked up and asked, "Why you want sell am? Hope say no be thief you thief am?" "Ah, no nah. My daddy got it for me as a birthday gift last year, but he's dead now, and I'm in a tight corner. So I decided to sell it and get a smaller phone," Epheani replied. The guy nodded. "So how much you want sell am?" "You should know how much you can give me. The phone is still in good condition," Epheani said, heart heavy. It felt like selling a piece of his father. "Make I give you N50K? The dealer offered. "That's too low. Make it N100K, Epheani bargained. "Guy, no lie. Nobody go buy secondhand phone for N100K. I just they give you N50K because your papa buy am for you and him done die. I understand say you they try, but N50K no reach anywhere. Oh yeah? N80K? The guy shook his head. N60K last. Too poor, Epheani said, collecting the phone and walking away. Make I give you N65K? Last, the guy called after him. N75K, Epheani retorted. N70K. Now the last I fit give you, my guy. Epheani paused. Bring the money, he said, handing over the phone and receipt. The guy gave him back his SIM card and paid him in cash. Epheani thanked him, bought a small phone for N8,000, bought some foodstuff on his way home, and started heading back. He felt both sad and relieved. He tied the money carefully in a nylon bag and hid it inside the small bag slung across his shoulder. He didn't notice the three men who had been trailing him since the market. They waited until he reached a narrow, quiet path leading to his house before making their move. Stop there! Epheani turned and saw them. From their appearance, he knew they were robbers. He immediately turned and ran. One of them fired a shot into the air. If you don't stop, the next bullet go enter your skull. Terrified, Epheani stopped, but held his bag tightly, trembling. The men surrounded him. Fine boy, hand over the bag, the one with the gun ordered. Please, I beg you, don't take this bag. It's my family's last hope, he pleaded. We they do film for here? Give me the bag, sharp, sharp, another yelled, trying to drag it from him. No, I can't let you. A hard slap cut his sentence short, but he still held on. They beat him severely, but he refused to let go. Please, not the bag. Please, this is my family's last hope, he muttered through bloodied lips. Frustrated, one of them shot him in the arm. He screamed, and the bag slipped from his hands. Why you shoot M? Their leader shouted. We know they shoot people. I had no choice. The guy too stubborn, the shooter said. Make we come out here before person go show. The third man grabbed the bag and they started running. In agony, Epheani staggered to his feet and chased after them, screaming, This guy's stubborn! The leader turned back and fired again. The bullet grazed Epheani's neck and he collapsed, blood gushing from his wounds. The emotional pain of losing the money was worse than the physical pain. Darkness took over. It was getting dark. Madam Ogechi stood outside, restless. Mummy, why are you out here? The weather is cold, Ujunwa asked, yawning and wrapping herself in a cloth. Your brother isn't back. His line isn't going through. I'm worried. There's nothing to worry about. He's not a kid. He'll be back soon, Ujunwa replied, placing the wrapper around her mother. Just then, they heard someone calling Madam Ogechi's name from a distance. It was Samuel, their neighbor's teenage son, running towards them. Samuel, what's chasing you? Ujunwa asked. It's Brother Epheani, Samuel said, panting heavily. Speak properly. What happened to my son? Madam Ogechi asked, her voice shaking. I saw him on my way home. Fainted on the ground, bleeding badly. Chimo, my Epheani, she screamed, flinging the wrapper off and running. Neighbors gathered as Samuel repeated what he saw. The men asked him to take them to the location. They arrived and found Epheani lying on the cold ground, bleeding and wounded. Epheani Enwa, who did this to you? My world has ended, Madam Ogechi wailed. A neighbor suggested rushing him to the hospital, but someone else said, This na gunshot wound. Hospital go ask for police report. Them no go treat am. Make we carry am go Baba place. But Baba na chemist. How he go treat gun wound? Another asked. In the end, they carried him to Baba's chemist shop. Baba was a kind man in his 50s, loved by the whole community. He was initially hesitant, but agreed after much pleading. Epheani regained consciousness as they laid him down. Mummy, he whispered. Nam, thank God you're alive, she sobbed, clutching his hand. I'm sorry, Mummy. They took the money. I tried to fight them off. Which money? I sold my phone to raise money for our rent. They attacked me on the way. I begged them, he cried. Everyone, including Baba, was moved to tears. You're a man, Epheani, Baba said. But this will hurt. I need to remove the bullet. Everyone, please step outside, including you, Madam Ogechi. She nodded, wiped her tears, and stepped outside with the others. Ujunwa held her close as they listened to Epheani's screams of pain from inside. Ujunwa's worry deepened, not just for her brother's life, but how they would afford Baba's treatment. Baba might be kind, but he never allowed debts. One by one, everyone began to return to their homes with the excuse of coming back later. Eventually, it was just Ujunwa and her mother standing outside in the cold, waiting for good news. Exactly 4 hours later, Baba opened the door, looking visibly exhausted. Performing surgery manually isn't an easy task, and he wouldn't have done it if not for the fact that he knew Epheani to be a good boy. Ujunwa and her mother rushed toward him. Baba, how is he? Ujunwa asked anxiously. He smiled. I've successfully removed the bullet. He lost a lot of blood, but I gave him some anesthetic. He's asleep now, but early tomorrow morning, you need to bring him some vegetables to help with his recovery. My fee is 70,000. With the drugs he'll need, the total comes to 100,000. I'm telling you now so you can start raising the money. Ujunwa, take your mother home. The weather is cold. Can I at least see him? Madam Ogechi asked, her eyes filled with longing. She didn't care about the money. All she wanted was for her son to be okay. Tomorrow, Baba replied. I just stitched him up and he's in deep pain. Let him rest. Mama, let's go. We'll be back in a few hours. Ujunwa gently urged her mother. Come on, you also need rest so we can wake up early to prepare the vegetables. Madam Ogechi nodded and finally agreed to go home, though she kept turning back to look as they walked away. Babe, where are you going so early in the morning? Jinika, a young woman in her early 20s, pretty and dark-skinned, asked when she noticed her husband, Chibuike, getting dressed to leave. Chibuike turned to look at her. Are you seriously asking me that? Didn't you hear Ujunwa call me last night to say my brother Epheani was shot by thieves? And so? Did he die? Ginika asked nonchalantly. What no one knew was that Epheani had been the first man Ginika liked. She had once tried to initiate a secret relationship with him, but Epheani had refused. He couldn't do that to his brother's new wife. To protect their marriage, he kept the incident from Chibuike. Since then, all the admiration Ginika once had for Epheani had turned into hatred. Are you stupid? Why would you say something like that? Chibuike snapped angrily. All I'm saying is, we have more important things to do. Like going to our daughter's school today for the parents and teachers meeting. You can visit him later. And beside, we don't even have money. Chibuike stared at his wife in disbelief. He couldn't believe that this heartless woman was the same person he married. Realizing he might do something regrettable if he stayed any longer, he finished dressing and left the house quickly. That morning, after preparing vegetables for her son, Madame Ogechi handed the food to Ujunwa. "My dear, take this to your brother quickly. You know he needs it to take his medication." "Mama, what about you? Won't you go see him?" Ujunwa asked, surprised, noticing her mother was already dressed up to go out. Madame Ogechi smiled sadly. "I need to visit somewhere real quick before I come back. Just tell Baba that I'll bring his money in the evening." Ujunwa nodded, took the food, and set out. A few minutes after she left, Madame Ogechi locked her room door and stepped out. "Madame Ogechi, good morning, oh. How's Epheani doing today?" a single neighbor asked. "Good morning, Sisi. By God's grace, Epheani is doing fine. Thank God for his life, oh. He's really lucky." "You're right. My God is alive. I'll come visit him when I get back from work. Please tell him that," the lady added, balancing a bucket of water on her head. Madame Ogechi sighed and continued on her way. Her plan was to visit some of her friends in the market and borrow money from them. She used to sell foodstuffs, but after her husband fell sick, she spent all her earnings treating him. He was a truck driver, and once he got sick, the company replaced him. If her friends refused to help, her last resort was to visit her late husband's brother, someone he had not been on good terms with when alive. Madame Ogechi knew it wasn't right, but with a debt of 250,000 naira hanging over her head and her favorite child on the brink of death, she would even borrow from the devil if it meant saving him. Chibuke stood silently, staring at his younger brother lying pale and bandaged on a tiny bed in Baba's chemist shop. Ujunwa was feeding him carefully, and even though Epheani was clearly in pain, he still managed a weak smile to ease their worry. "Can you recognize the boys that did this to you?" Chibuike asked after a moment of silence. Ujunwa paused too, eager to know. "When did armed robbers start attacking their neighborhood?" Epheani shook his head. "I don't know them. They're strangers. I think they followed me from the phone village. I didn't notice them. I was too focused on how to complete the balance." "But you shouldn't have sold your phone," Ujunwa muttered, resuming feeding him. Epheani smiled faintly. "You said you didn't want to live in a one-room apartment and share a toilet with others. I didn't want that either. I can always buy another phone once I make more money. It's just sad that everything is gone." "We could go to the police," Chibuke suggested. Both siblings looked at him like he had grown two heads. "Going to the police will only escalate things and bring unnecessary expenses. They won't find those boys," Epheani replied, his voice weak from pain. He wasn't in the mood for food, but he still ate to stop his siblings from worrying. Chibuike nodded. "You're right, I didn't think it through. So, how are you holding up? Are you all right?" "I'm fine. Why hasn't Mummy come yet?" Epheani asked, turning to Ujunwa. "She left this morning without telling me where. Maybe she went to borrow money from her friends," Ujunwa said. "How much is the bill?" Chibuike asked. Both siblings turned to him in shock. They knew how their brother operated. If he had money, his wife wouldn't let him touch it, especially if it involved Epheani. "With house rent, the debt is 250,000 naira. The deadline is tomorrow," Ujunwa replied doubtfully. Chibuike sighed deeply. "That's a huge amount of money, but I'll see what I can do." Though he had a shop selling women's wear, his wife controlled the money and wouldn't give him a dime, especially when it concerned Epheani. He still didn't know why she hated his brother so much, and to avoid suspicion, he didn't ask. "Ujunwa, I'd like to lie down for a bit. Bring my medication." Epheani said, grimacing. Ujunwa nodded, closed the nearly empty flask, and picked up the medicine Baba had handed her. She gave him a dose with water and helped him lie back down on the small, uncomfortable bed. Despite how inadequate the bed was, they were simply grateful that he had received treatment at all. As soon as his head hit the pillow, Epheani fell asleep. The two siblings watched him for a moment before stepping outside. Ujunwa hesitated, then finally asked what was on her mind. Brother Chibuike, I know you don't have much, but could you give me something small to buy fruits for Epheani? Baba said he needs them. I used the last money I had to cook. Chibuike stared at her for a moment, then pulled out a crumpled 1,000 naira note and handed it to her. She thanked him and took it gratefully. I'll see if I can get more money and send it to Mom's account for Epheani's treatment, Chibuike promised, before boarding a motorcycle home. That's if your wife allows you, Ujunwa muttered under her breath as she returned to the chemist shop to sit by her brother's side. Madame Ogechi stood quietly in front of her late husband's brother's shop. Oga Eze Gold, her husband's younger brother, was a wealthy businessman dealing in motor parts. He had 4 children, all studying abroad. Yet, despite his riches, he never extended a helping hand, not even when her husband fell sick and died. The brothers hadn't spoken for years after a major fallout. The grudge ran so deep that Eze Gold didn't even attend his own brother's burial. Now Ogechi was here, desperate and ashamed. After being turned down by every friend she approached for help, this was her last option. She couldn't bear the thought of being thrown out on the street while her son was still healing from a gunshot wound. Madam, wetin you dey find? A young boy, likely in his early 20s, asked as he saw her standing hesitantly at the entrance. Ogechi took a deep breath, swallowing her pride. Is your Oga around? Him don't go carry market for customer, but him go soon come back, the boy replied in broken English. He was clearly an apprentice, uneducated but hardworking. I'll wait, she said quietly, taking a seat on the bench outside the shop. A few minutes later, Oga Eze Gold walked into his shop and was surprised to see his late elder brother's wife standing outside. Eze Gold was a fair-complexioned, heavily built man. His round belly, which resembled that of a 6-month-old pregnant woman, was a result of years of excessive alcohol and protein consumption. Despite this, he remained surprisingly healthy, always claiming it was because he was constantly active in the market, even with several apprentices, Ndwaye boys, working under him. He stared at Madame Ogechi for a few moments. From the look on her face, he could tell she didn't want to be there, but she had no choice. Come inside, he said, walking into his fully air-conditioned office. Madame Ogechi followed him in and sat down on the chair opposite his desk. He offered her a drink, but she politely declined. She wasn't here for refreshments. So, what can I do for you? You're the last person I expected to see in my office today, Eze Gold said, reclining in his antique chair. Eze Gold, she began, her voice low and strained. I'm not here because I want to be. I'm here because I have no other option. I need your help, please. The man let out a laugh. Your husband, my brother, once said that the day he would seek help from me would be the day he died. Well, he's dead now. Are you sure his words don't still count? I don't want his blood on my hands. Madame Ogechi's face tensed briefly, but she held her composure. My husband is gone. Let's not speak of the past. I'm in a desperate situation. I need some money. I was hoping you could lend me some. How much? 300,000 naira, she replied. Eze Gold paused, then gave a short nod. You and I both know that 300,000 is nothing to me, but that's business money. I don't give it out unless I'm sure I'll get it back. No offense. I swear on my husband's grave, I'll pay you back, she pleaded desperately. I don't need your swearing. What I need is collateral. Something I can hold on to if you fail to repay the money. I don't have anything like that, Madame Ogechi replied after a long silence. Your son, the one who just graduated. I need another NWA boy. If you'll let him work for me, I'll consider that as your collateral. He'll serve me until the debt is repaid. Let's say for a year and 6 months. Madame Ogechi blinked in disbelief. You want my son, a university graduate, to work for you for 1 year and 6 months without pay? Just for 300,000 naira? I'm not forcing you, he replied coldly. It's your choice. Take it or leave it. Tears stung her eyes. Her son, who had barely survived a gunshot the day before, was the collateral she had to offer for a mere 300,000. Death had dealt her a hard blow. If only her husband hadn't died. If only he hadn't been sick for so long. If only the illness hadn't swallowed all their savings. She wouldn't be here, begging. But there was no other option. My son is injured, she said slowly. He was shot yesterday by armed robbers who stole his money. He's barely alive. I need the money to continue his treatment. Ezzy Gold's response made her heart sink. That's unfortunate. If you accept my condition, I'll give him 1 month to recover before he resumes work. He'll start at 7 a.m. and close by 6:30 p.m. daily. Is this man truly human? Madame Ogechi thought bitterly. What do you say? I'm a busy man, Ez Gold pressed, raising his brow with an indifferent look. I'll take the money, she said through clenched teeth. He nodded, brought out a document, and handed it to her. It stated clearly that her son would serve him for 1 year and 6 months in exchange for the loan. With a heavy heart, Madame Ogechi signed it. Ezzy Gold transferred the N300,000 to her account. She left his office quietly, thankful, yet completely broken. 2 weeks after Epheani returned home to recover, he still visited Baba Chemist regularly for wound care and medication. One morning, while his younger sister had gone to her tailoring training, he joined his mother in the sitting room, curious about how she had managed to pay for their rent and his medical bills. Good morning, Mummy, he greeted softly. Madame Ogechi looked up from the fresh vegetables she was arranging for her morning sales and smiled at him. Morning, my son. How are you feeling today? I'm fine, Ma. The wound is healing well, he replied calmly. Silence settled between them for a while, before Epheani finally gathered the courage to ask the question that had been bothering him. Mummy, I want to know, how did you get the money for our rent and my treatment? Madame Ogechi froze for a moment, then looked at him seriously. Epheani, focus on your recovery first. I'll tell you everything later. Mama, I'm fine now. You can tell me everything. She adjusted her wrapper and let out a deep sigh. Well, since you insist, I have no choice but to tell you. She fell silent again, unsure of where to begin. She knew how much her children despised Easy Gold, her late husband's brother, for what he had done to their father and for refusing to even attend his burial. But in this situation, she had no choice. I borrowed money to settle our debts. I had no option, and I couldn't go to those loan apps because we don't have any stable source of income. It's okay. I understand, Epheani said with a reassuring smile. I had to borrow it from your uncle, Ease Gold, she added carefully, watching his face for any signs of anger. But all she saw was calm. I had no choice, Epheani. You were dying. Baba Chemist said the medication alone was over 100,000. I knew it was too much, but he helped save your life. I couldn't take you to a hospital. It was a gunshot wound. The police would have gotten involved, and it might have been too late. Epheani stood up and gently hugged his mother with his uninjured arm. He knew it must have been an incredibly hard decision for her, His mother was a proud woman. For her to go to the man they all considered a family enemy, it meant she had no choice. He couldn't blame her, only appreciate her strength. "Mama, it's okay." "Huh? I understand," he said, gently patting her back until her sobs quieted. When she finally calmed down, Epheani pulled back slightly and asked, "If Uncle E's gold gave you that money, then he must have asked for something in return. I know he's not a generous man." "You're right, my son. He's not generous," she replied with a bitter smile. "He asked that you serve him, as a kind of servant, for a year and 6 months." Epheani's expression darkened slightly. "How much did you borrow?" 300,000 naira, she answered quietly. "He wants me to work for him for a whole year and 6 months, just for 300,000? Epheani muttered in disbelief. How can one man be so heartless? But then he looked at his mother's tired, sorrowful face, and he swallowed his anger. He forced a smile for her sake. "It's fine, Mama. I'll do it. It's just a year and 6 months. It'll pass in no time." "I'm so sorry, my son. I'm sorry you have to go through this. I truly had no choice," she said, wiping away tears. "Mummy, don't worry. I'm even grateful that he helped us. At least our debt is paid. Even if he had said 5 years, I would still do it. Don't worry about me." "Epheani, I know you're only saying that to make me feel better. You and I both know how E's Gold treats his workers. That man is not human. He will frustrate you until you're broken. I had no choice but to sign that document, to hand you over to him, for just money. Mummy, I'm a man now. I can handle anything, as long as our family is safe and we're not living on the streets. It's okay. I'll be fine." He smiled and checked the time. "Mummy, it's time for my injection. I have to head to Baba Chemist now." He leaned in to kiss her on the cheek. "Don't worry, Mama. Everything will be fine soon. Just believe me." "Thank you, my son," Madam Ogechi said softly, wiping her tears and managing a smile. "You're welcome, Mama. You better hurry up if you still want to sell those vegetables this morning." "How are you feeling, son?" Baba asked as soon as Epheani walked into the chemist's shop the next morning. "I'm fine, sir." "Your wound, Enko? Come closer. Let me take a look." Epheani moved towards him. Baba unwrapped a bit of the bandage, examined it, and nodded approvingly. "Remember, don't let water touch it yet. It'll get infected." "Yes, Baba," Epheani said, collecting his medication before leaving. When he got home, his mother had already gone to the market. Epheani sat down on the sofa, deep in thought. Becoming a servant to the man who had insulted and abandoned their family was a bitter pill to swallow, all because of N300,000. Life was indeed cruel. He sighed deeply. His mother must have swallowed her pride and begged Ez Gold for help, something she never would have done if she had a choice. 1 month later, Epheani's wound had almost healed. Though he still couldn't lift heavy items with that arm, he could carry light things. As promised, he resumed work at his uncle's shop. There, he met Samuel and Osama, the 2 apprentices who also worked in the shop. "Good morning, bros. Who you dey find?" Samuel asked as Epheani stepped in. "This is my uncle's shop. He asked me to come," Epheani replied, scanning the well-stocked store with a tightening chest. His uncle had all this wealth, yet their father died because he couldn't afford treatment. "Sit down for that chair. Oga go soon come," Samuel said, continuing with his work. Osama, a bigger guy, was in the back checking the sales record. Minutes later, Oga Ezegold arrived. He spotted Epheani and smiled, a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Good morning, sir," Epheani greeted, rising to his feet. "En Epheani, how are you?" Ezegold replied, sitting down. "Good morning, boss," Samuel and Osama chimed in. He nodded at them. Morning. So Epheani, how's your wound? Better now? It's bearable, sir. Thank you for asking. Good. Samuel, Osama, this is Epheani. He'll be working with us. He's a graduate, so he'll handle all the records and invoices from now on. Make sure you show him the ropes. Osama's expression darkened slightly. He had been managing the books, and not honestly. He regularly stole from the stock and sold items under the table. Now that Epheani was taking over, that might change. Follow me to the warehouse. We need to carry some goods, Osama said the moment their boss left. Bros, I'm not supposed to carry weight yet because of my injury. How about that one? No concern me. Just follow me, Osama snapped and walked out. Confused and slightly offended, Epheani followed. The warehouse was a distance away, and Osama gave him heavy work, arranging goods and hauling boxes. Epheani had to use one hand, careful not to reopen his wound. By the time he returned to the shop with the goods, it was already afternoon. Epheani, where have you been all day? Didn't I ask you to handle the sales record? Ezigold asked, frowning. Yes, sir. But Osama asked me to arrange goods in the warehouse. It was difficult because of my arm. That's a lie, sir, Osama interrupted. I only showed him the place and the goods. He said he'd join me later. But you, Epheani began, but Ezigold cut him off. Epheani, whether you like it or not, your mother signed a contract. For the next 1 year and 6 months, you're under me. Bury whatever resentment you have and do the work you were brought here to do. Understood? Yes, sir, Epheani muttered, hiding the anger in his chest. He didn't say another word. Instead, he sat down and opened the old ledger. The records were full of cancelled entries and missing pages. He suspected Osama had sent him away to destroy evidence of his theft. Quietly, Epheani started afresh, opening a new sales record book. Customers came in and out. Ezigold introduced Epheani not as his nephew, but as his new NWA boy. Still, many customers, especially the women, were drawn to Epheani's polite demeanor and handsome face. By the end of the day, he had become a customer favorite. Even Samuel warmed up to him. Except Osama, who became openly hostile and clearly jealous. Which way you they go? Epheani asked Samuel as they locked the shop. I they go with Oga. Sometimes we follow Motor, sometimes na trek. Osama they follow Una too? Samuel nodded. No mind the way Osama they act. Na so him they with everybody. Just ignore Epheani smiled and handed him the keys. It's fine. I'll get used to it. See you tomorrow. He waved goodbye and began walking home with his legs. His stomach couldn't stop rumbling with hunger. He hadn't eaten or taken his medicine all day, but he didn't complain. There was no money left. He just had to manage. Mama, don't you think you should stop going to the market? Let me go instead, Ujunwa asked with concern as she handed her mother the pain relief tablets she had just bought. Madam Ogechi smiled and took the medicine from her. She opened the pack, took 2 tablets, and swallowed them with a cup of water. I'm fine, my dear. It's just a small pain. It'll pass. Don't tell your brother anything about it, all right? Ujunwa nodded reluctantly. He just started working again. Even with that injured arm, I don't want to add to his stress. He'll be back soon. Go and get his food ready. She had barely finished speaking when Epheani walked in, wearing a smile that masked the pain he was still feeling. Good evening, Mummy, he greeted, lowering himself carefully onto the sofa beside her. How was your day? Hope it wasn't too stressful? Madam Ogechi asked. Epheani shook his head. No, it was just fine. Where's Ujunwa? She's getting your food. You must be very hungry. Very hungry, Epheani said, rubbing his stomach, then raised his voice. Ujunwa, bring the food. Oh, Your senior brother is starving. That my senior brother should use his legs and come carry the food himself, Ujunwa replied from inside. Epheani laughed and stood up to head to the kitchen. It had been 6 months since Epheani started working for his uncle, Eze Gold. In that time, he had meticulously kept the sales book and invoices in order. His cheerful personality had quickly earned him the favor of many customers. He sold goods at the correct prices, unlike Osama and Samuel, who would often inflate prices for personal gain. As a result, many customers now preferred to buy from Epheani. This did not sit well with Osama. His usual way of making extra money had been blocked by the fine boy graduate their boss brought in. Samuel wasn't pleased either. Even though he liked Epheani and found his jokes amusing, the new work atmosphere meant Samuel could no longer pocket a little change now and then, which he depended on. One afternoon, while Epheani had stepped out to buy lunch, Osama approached Samuel for a private conversation. "Sam, you like the way things they go for this shop?" Osama asked, sitting beside him. "Wetin you mean?" Samuel raised an eyebrow. "I mean Epheani. Since he come here, everywhere dawn tight. We know they see our small extra money again. You never reason, am?" Samuel nodded thoughtfully. "Na true, oh. But wetin we go do?" Osama looked around cautiously, then leaned in to whisper something into Samuel's ear. Samuel's eyes widened. "Ah, how you want take do that one?" "Leave that to me," Osama replied coldly. "Just follow the plan. I'll handle the rest." Samuel hesitated. He genuinely liked Epheani. The guy made work enjoyable, but he also needed the money, and with Epheani around, that was impossible. "But what if we get caught? Remember say Oga get camera for here, oh." "Forget that one," Osama said confidently. "I fit handle am. Just do your part. No shake." After a few moments of silence, Samuel finally nodded. "No wahala." Osama grinned and patted him on the back. "You made the right choice. Oga go do calculation tomorrow, so we go move this evening." Just then, Epheani returned, and both of them quickly switched back to their usual selves. That Saturday, Epheani, as usual, closed the sales book for the week. It was the day he normally closed the sales book because his boss always reviewed the records every Monday morning. As he was finishing up, Samuel handed him an envelope. "This money na from one customer, way they owe Oga," Samuel explained. Epheani took it, and since the drawer was locked by Osama, who was not around at the time, he placed the money inside his bag with the intention of recording it later. However, he became distracted when Samuel started a deep conversation, and he completely forgot about the money. Later, as Samuel was locking up, he turned off the CCTV for a brief moment, took the money from Epheani's bag, then turned the camera back on. He handed Epheani his bag as if nothing had happened, and they all left for the day. On Monday morning, Epheani arrived at the shop to a strange, tense atmosphere. He noticed the unease on both Osama and Samuel's faces, but didn't understand why. He stepped in and greeted his uncle cheerfully. "Good morning, sir." Eze Gold raised his eyebrows, his expression cold and unreadable. "Epheani, where is my money?" The question caught Epheani completely off guard. "What money, sir?" Without responding, Eze Gold gestured for him to come closer. When Epheani did, he showed him CCTV footage of him receiving the envelope from Samuel and putting it in his bag. Epheani felt as if cold water had been poured over him. His heart nearly stopped. He hurriedly searched through his bag, but the money was gone. Looking at Samuel for an explanation, Samuel avoided his gaze. Epheani turned to Osama, who wore a smug smile. In that moment, Epheani knew he had been framed, and nothing he said could change it. "Sir, I don't know what happened, but I swear, I didn't steal your money. Ezigold let out a cold laugh, speaking in a chillingly calm tone. Epheani, I lent your poor mother money out of kindness when she came begging. And this is how you repay me? By stealing from me? Sir, please, believe me. I only put the money in my bag temporarily because Osama wasn't around with the drawer key. When he came back, I forgot about it. That's all. Who will believe such a foolish excuse? Since when does Osama leave the shop with the drawer key? And even when he returned, why didn't you deposit the money? Epheani was speechless. He didn't even know the amount of the money, let alone what truly happened to it. But his instinct screamed he had been set up. Osama, Ezigold called. Yes, sir. Osama answered instantly, playing innocent. Did you leave the shop with the drawer key? Sir? Osama blinked innocently. I've never taken the drawer key out before. Even Samuel can confirm that the key is always in the shop. Ezigold turned to Samuel. Is that true, Samuel? Samuel's heart was pounding. He truly pitied Epheani, but telling the truth would expose him too. He nodded slowly. Yes, sir. The key they always hear. Epheani was stunned. Samuel, please, tell the truth. The key, enough, Ezigold snapped. His voice thundered across the room. I should throw you in jail until you return my 1 million naira. But because of our blood relation, I'll give you 3 weeks. 3 weeks to return my money and the rest your mother owes. If not, you, your mother, and your sister will all rot in jail. He pointed to the door. Get out of my shop and don't come back until my money is complete. I don't care how you find it. But Epheani, I don't play with my money. Epheani tried to beg, but just then his phone began to ring. It was a strange number. He answered. Hello, is this Epheani? Yes, who is this? Come to the market now. Your mother collapsed in the market and it's not looking good. Epheani screamed and dashed out immediately. To make matters worse, he had no money for transport, so he relied on the only transport he had, his legs. He ran as fast as he could to the market, his heart pounding and heavy with worry. At that moment, he didn't know whether to cry for the 1 million naira he had to pay in 3 weeks, or the terrible news he just received about his mother. By the time he got to the market, his mother had already been taken to the hospital. What kept you so long? The vegetable seller beside his mother's stall asked as soon as she saw him. Panting heavily, Epheani couldn't speak for a few moments. He was just trying to catch his breath. Did you run here? What happened to taking a bus? The woman asked again, watching him closely. Where is my mother? Epheani asked as soon as he could speak. Your sister already took her to a nearby clinic. I called her over when you were taking too long to arrive. Please, can you give me directions to the clinic? He asked, already worn out. The woman nodded and pointed down the street. Epheani thanked her and was about to leave when she stopped him and handed him a sachet of water. She had noticed he was sweating profusely. He smiled gratefully, took the water, and rushed off again. When he arrived at the clinic, he found his sister waiting outside. What took you so long? And why are you sweating so much? Ujunwa asked, concerned. Where's Mom? Is she okay? He asked instead, ignoring her questions. Ujunwa sighed. She's sleeping. I need to go and see her, Epheani said, moving toward the ward, but Ujunwa held him back. There's something you need to know. The doctor already spoke to me. Epheani froze. What did he say? The doctor said Mom has a heart condition and high blood pressure. She's been taking pain relievers for a while now. He warned that she must not do any stressful work, or her condition will get worse. Hearing that, Epheani felt weak. The day had already dealt him so many blows. Seeing the gloom on her brother's face, Ujunwa gave him a warm hug. "Don't worry about the bills," she said. "I borrowed some money from my friends and paid the hospital. It wasn't much. All we need to do now is take her home." In his sister's arms, Epheani couldn't hold back his tears. "Why is nothing going right?" he muttered. "Are you okay?" Ujunwa asked softly. Epheani sniffed and nodded. He knew his family was going through a lot, and he didn't want to burden them further with his own problems. After a while, he pulled away. "Let's go get Mum." Ujunwa nodded. Together, they walked into the ward, where Madam Ogechi was awake, staring quietly at the ceiling. "Mummy!" Hearing her children's voices, Madam Ogechi sat up on the bed. Her expression was pale, but she still managed to smile. "Why are you both here? Epheani, don't you have work today?" Instead of answering, Epheani gave her a gentle hug. "I'm just glad you're okay." "I'm fine, really," Madam Ogechi said, patting his back lightly. Epheani sat beside her. "Mummy, the doctor said you need to rest at home so your condition doesn't get worse." "You know I can't do that. What will happen to my business?" "I'll take care of it," Ujunwa said, joining them and putting her arm around her mother. "I'll pause my training and run the business for now. We can't lose you, Mummy. Please, listen to us and stay home, at least until you're strong again." Madam Ogechi looked at her two children for a moment, then slowly nodded. If for nothing else, she still had them. That was enough for her. Though she missed her first son, who abandoned them after marriage, she silently prayed that Epheani wouldn't follow that path. "All right, I'll do as you both said. Let's go home so Epheani can return to work. I don't want your uncle saying he's lazy." Epheani's face darkened slightly at the mention of work. The memory of that morning came rushing back. He still didn't know what he had done to deserve being framed by his colleagues, but he swallowed the pain and helped his mother up. Together, the three of them went home. After making sure his mother was fed and resting, Epheani set out for the market again. He hoped that, through the connections he had made, he might find a temporary job to raise money. But Epheani didn't know that bad news spreads fast. Everyone who had visited his uncle's shop earlier had heard that Epheani had stolen 1,000,000 naira and that the camera had caught him red-handed. Though some doubted it at first, they were shown the footage. Once they saw it, no one believed him anymore. "Don't judge a book by its cover," they all said. "You never know someone's true character." By the time Epheani got to the market, everyone who knew him began questioning him about the alleged theft. No matter how he tried to explain, no one believed him. Even those who said they did believe him were refused to offer him work. His uncle had influence in the market. No one wanted to be on his bad side. After searching all afternoon without any luck, a frustrated Epheani decided to go home and continue his job hunt the next day. "Fine, Bobo. Wetin you they do for here?" Someone tapped him from behind. Epheani turned and saw Alaska, the tall, slim guy he once helped when he was looking for a specific car part. Epheani had taken him to another shop and helped him get the part at the correct price. "I just they come from your shop, but I no see you. I ask after you. Dem say you thief your oga." "But I no believe am," Alaska added with a grin. Epheani was surprised. Alaska was the first person who said he didn't believe the accusation. "Why would you think that?" "There's a video showing I took the money," he said with a sad smile. "The Sunday hot. Make we go chill somewhere? Then talk," Alaska said, walking off. Epheani followed him. They arrived at a small local joint and took a seat. Alaska ordered a bottle of beer, while Epheani ordered an energy drink. "You know they drink alcohol?" Alaska teased. "What my body needs now is energy, not alcohol," Epheani replied with a small smile. They sat in silence for a while before Epheani spoke. "Why did you believe I didn't steal the money?" Alaska chuckled. "Fine, Bobo. I've seen plenty things for this life. I know good people when I see them. I once worked for someone before I started driving my own motor. Some boys my Oga brought framed me just like this. I know how these things go. Epheani smiled faintly. It's also my fault. I forgot all about the money. No, it's not your fault. You just trusted the wrong people. Don't blame yourself too much, Alaska said. And now I have over 1 million naira to pay back in 3 weeks. How much exactly? Alaska asked. I don't even know. Epheani shook his head. When Samuel gave me the money, I had already closed the accounts for the day, so I just kept it safe in my bag. The drawer was locked, and Osama had the key. I planned to return it later, but I got distracted. By the time I remembered, it was too late. My uncle says it's 1 million, but I doubt it's even up to that. But you go school, Abi. Why you dey serve your uncle? Alaska asked. It's a long story. My family was in debt. My mom borrowed money from my uncle, and he agreed only on the condition that I serve him for 1 year and 6 months. That man wicked. Oh, how much she borrow? 300,000. Nawa, oh, people heart no good. Just because of ordinary 300,000? Epheani shrugged and sipped his drink in silence. After finishing his beer, Alaska checked the time. It was a few minutes past 4 in the evening. He turned to Epheani. How about you come work for me? I know get conductor. You fit do conductor work? Epheani's eyes lit up with joy. You dey ask me that kind question? As it be now, there's no kind of job I can't do, except killing someone. Alaska smiled and nodded. I go they pay you 5,000 every day. But I know they work in the afternoon. If you sabi drive well, you fit carry my motor go work. Then you go add the money to your money. I know say e no reach much, but at least e go help you. Epheani didn't know how to express his gratitude. Thank you so much, boss. Thank you very much. It's all right. But conductor work no be easy, oh. So fine, Bobo. You go need wipe that fine English come out from your lips. No let 'em intimidate customers, Alaska said with a chuckle. Epheani laughed. Okay, boss. Alaska paid for their drinks, and they both left for the park. When they got to the main park, Alaska introduced Epheani to everyone. As usual, Epheani's cheerful nature helped him blend in easily. Just like that, Epheani became a conductor at the park. The job wasn't easy at first, but he was determined. He never once complained or gave Alaska a reason to regret employing him. As promised, Alaska paid him $5,000 daily. The extra money he earned from afternoon driving brought his total income to about $10,000 per day. But Epheani never touched the money. He was saving it to repay his uncle. He often starved himself, refusing to spend a dime unless Alaska or one of the other drivers at the park bought food for him. He started losing weight drastically. Though still handsome, the lack of proper nutrition and constant stress began to dull his once radiant appearance. But he never complained and always wore a smile. His mother, however, became worried. One night, after he returned home and was preparing to sleep on the mat in the sitting room, Madame Ogechi called him. Epheani, please come and sit down. I have something to ask you. He abandoned the mat and sat on the sofa, facing her. What is it, Mummy? Are you feeling sick? Madame Ogechi shook her head. I'm fine. This isn't about me. It's about you. I'm your mother, Epheani. I want the best for you. Tell me the truth. What's going on? Is there something bothering you? Epheani gave a short laugh. Mummy, everything is fine. Nothing is bothering me. I've been your mother for over 25 years now. I know when my son is not okay. Your condition is not pleasing to my eyes. You always look stressed. You leave early in the morning and return late at night. Talk to me, Epheani. What is going on? Knowing his mother wouldn't rest until she got an answer, Epheani decided to lie. He couldn't risk telling her the truth, not with her high blood pressure. "Mummy, I picked up another job, just to support myself after work at Uncle's place. That's why I get home late. But don't worry, I won't be doing it for too long." Madam Ogechi narrowed her eyes. "What kind of job is it?" "I work as a conductor," Epheani said softly. As expected, her expression changed. "But mummy," he quickly added, "conductor work no be bad thing, and I won't be doing it for long. I just need to gather enough money for my clearance, then I'll go for service. I know that once I finish service, I'll definitely find a better job." "But conductor work is," she began. "Mummy," he gently interrupted her. "Na only work I fit get since I still dey work for uncle. I promise you, once I'm done serving him, I'll quit the job. By then, I would have saved up enough." There was a long silence before Madame Ogechi sighed deeply. "If only your father was alive. If only your father was alive. He would..." She broke down in tears. Epheani felt his own tears coming. He stood and wrapped his arms around her. "Everything will be fine, Mummy. Believe me. Daddy may not be alive, but I'm here. And I promise you, I will give you the luxurious life you deserve. Just be patient with me." Madame Ogechi hugged him back tightly and nodded. "I believe you, my son." After a while, they bade each other good night and went to bed. 3 weeks later, Epheani went to check how much he had saved from his daily N10,000. The total came to N210,000. He handed N10,000 to his mother for feeding and set out for his uncle's shop. He was nervous, but he needed to beg for more time. When he arrived, Olga S. Gold wasn't around. Only Samuel was in the shop. Seeing him, Samuel froze slightly. He feared Epheani would ignore or insult him for what he had done. But Epheani simply greeted him politely and sat quietly, waiting for his uncle. Samuel kept glancing at him. He noticed how skinny Epheani had become. His skin was dull from constant exposure to the sun. Samuel felt guilt bite hard into him. He regretted allowing Osama to poison his heart. Worse still, Osama didn't even give him a fair share. He only got N100,000 from the stolen money. And he couldn't complain. Otherwise, he'd be sent back to the village, or worse, prison. Minutes later, Olga S. Gold walked in, his round belly bouncing slightly with each step. He nodded to Epheani's greeting and went to sit. "Did you bring my money?" he asked indifferently. Epheani took a deep breath and handed him the nylon bag with trembling hands. "Please, sir, I've been working day and night. No eating, no resting, just to gather your money. But 3 weeks is too short. I could only raise N200,000. Please give me more time," he pleaded quietly. "You must be very stupid," Asa Gold barked. "Epheani, you think I'm selling crayfish? You stole 1 million naira from me, and after 3 weeks, this is all you could bring? Do you think this is a charity?" Tears welled up in Epheani's eyes. He went on his knees. "Sir, I swear to God Almighty, I didn't steal your money. But I accept that my negligence caused it. That's why I've been working hard to pay you back. Please, sir, give me more time." Seeing him on his knees, Olga Ezigold paused. He clenched his jaw, then pointed at Epheani. "Fine. I'll give you extra 2 weeks. I don't care how you do it. Just make sure that money is on my table. Now get out of my shop." Epheani thanked him, stood up, and walked out. At that moment, he almost questioned his entire existence. "God, have you forgotten me?" he muttered. Samuel, watching from inside, felt his heart tighten. When his boss wasn't looking, he quietly slipped out and followed Epheani. Catching up with him, he quickly stuffed some money into Epheani's hand. "It's nothing. Just use it for transport." Before Epheani could refuse, Samuel had already run off. He stared at the money for a while, wiped his tears, and used it to transport himself back to the park. If God didn't help him, he would help himself. Fine, Bobo. How the matter go? Alaska asked when he saw him. Your Uncle Greek collect the money? He did, but he only gave me 2 more weeks, Epheani replied. That man a thief, Alaska cursed, patting him on the shoulder. No worry, it go better. Sure, Epheani said with a smile, then sprang into action, calling out to customers and filling up the bus. After that day's work, Epheani was clearing the bus when he noticed a silver box. Alaska, his boss, had gone home early because his daughter was sick, so he asked Epheani to round up for the day. Epheani frowned deeply as he picked up the box. It was quite heavy. He guessed a passenger might have accidentally left it behind. Because it was already dark and the park could get dangerous at night, he decided to carry the box home before opening it. After bathing and getting ready for bed, Epheani finally opened the box. The contents scared the hell out of him. Quickly covering his mouth to stifle a scream, he saw important-looking documents inside. Then at the bottom of the box, there was a stash of dollars, bundled thickly. He knew it was a lot of money. Though familiar with dollars, this was the first time he had ever touched them. He didn't know who the box belonged to, but when he found the owner's ID card, it belonged to an elderly woman. He couldn't recall seeing her that day. He had been having a rough time and wasn't very observant. Epheani knew, no matter how much he trusted his boss, he couldn't tell Alaska about the box. Alaska would probably keep it for himself. So he decided to keep quiet and call the owner using the contact on the ID card. But as he stepped outside, Epheani's mind began to wander. That was a whole lot of money in the box. Enough to change his family's life forever. Maybe he could just take a little, say $500. That alone would solve so many of their problems. But then he paused. Stealing from someone else to escape his own problems. Was that really the kind of life he wanted to live? No. Things might be tough right now. Painfully so. But he still had hope. He believed that God hadn't brought them this far to abandon them now. With that conviction in his heart, he dialed the number. The woman answered immediately, and he could hear her crying softly on the other end. Hello, did you by any chance forget something on the bus today? Epheani asked. Yes. Oh my God, yes. Please, whoever you are, wherever you are, please return the box to me. You can even take some of the money. What I need most are the documents. Please, she pleaded anxiously. Epheani frowned and asked, Where are you, Ma? I'm at the park. I came back as soon as I remembered, but couldn't find anyone. I was even about to report it to the police, she said. What made you forget such an important box? Epheani asked, wanting to confirm it was the right person. She explained, I was pressed today. I couldn't wait for my driver. He was taking too long. The food I ate upset my stomach badly, so I wasn't thinking straight until I finally relieved myself. That's when I realized the box wasn't with me. Please, I beg you, I need it back. At that moment, Epheani suddenly remembered the woman. She had left some change for him when she rushed out earlier. It's fine. Tomorrow I'll give you the address where you can come and collect the box. I didn't touch anything, just opened it to find your contact, he assured her. Thank you so much, my son. I didn't think good people like you still existed. God bless you, she said, relief flooding her voice. She had just returned from the States and was on her way to the bank to change her money to Naira when her driver went to run an errand. Before he returned, she had been so pressed, she forgot the box filled with important documents. Good night, Ma. I'll send you the address now, Epheani said before ending the call. Early the next morning, the woman's call woke him. He answered, and she told him she was at his junction. He asked her to wait a few minutes, then got up, brushed his teeth, and went out with the box. At the junction, Epheani saw a Hummer Jeep parked. He went straight to the car, knocked on the door, and it opened. He stepped inside and the cool AC greeted him. He recognized the woman immediately, looking more relaxed and even more beautiful than before. "Good morning, Ma. Here's your box," he greeted, handing it to her. She opened it carefully, checked everything was intact, and smiled gratefully. "Thank you so much, son. Can I know your name?" "Epheani, Ma," he replied. "Epheani, God will bless you. I wasn't expecting to recover everything." "Here, take this," she said, offering him some dollars. Epheani stared at the money for a moment, then shook his head. "No, Ma, I only returned what belongs to you. Taking the dollars isn't necessary." She was taken aback. "But you helped me, so this is my way of saying thank you." "I still can't take it. Your words are enough." "Please excuse me, I need to prepare for work," he said, bowing slightly as he stood to leave. She stopped him. "Wait, I'm sorry for insisting, but I want to do something for you. My mind won't be at peace otherwise. Since you don't want the money, tell me, what do you want? Please, just say anything." Epheani thought for a moment before gently saying, "I owe my uncle money. I've paid back 200,000, but he gave me 2 weeks to pay the rest. I don't know where to get that money from. So if you could help me pay him back, that would be more than enough." The woman smiled warmly. "How much is the money?" 950,000, Epheani replied. "Okay. Since you won't take my dollars, can I at least get your account number? I'll transfer the money to you." He could hardly believe it. Was this God's answer to his prayers? Quickly, he gave her his account number. Moments later, she transferred 2 million naira into his account. "Epheani, you can pay your uncle and use the rest to buy something nice for your mother. She raised a good son," she said. When the alert popped up on his phone, Epheani stared at it like it was a dream. The woman laughed at his reaction, her heart full of joy. She already felt the urge to do more, but would take it slow, so he wouldn't feel overwhelmed. "Thank you so much, Ma. God bless you," Epheani said gratefully. "It's fine. I'll keep in touch. Just pick up whenever I call, okay?" He nodded and left the car. That morning, Epheani called Alaska to say he'd be late, then went home, bathed, and headed to his uncle's shop. They were surprised to see him so early. This time, Epheani proved to his uncle that God is not a man who lies. He transferred the remaining money, thanked his uncle for the patience, and walked away. Because he wanted to keep working with Alaska, Epheani never mentioned the lost and found box. He didn't want to complicate matters. When he got home, he called his mother and sister into the sitting room. "Mommy, Ujunwa, God has finally remembered us," he announced cheerfully. Both his mother and sister exchanged confused looks before turning back to him, who was grinning from ear to ear. "Epheani, you're smiling like you've won a bet," Ujunwa teased suspiciously. "No, I just ran into luck, or let's say favor," he replied, and went on to explain everything he had been through. The stolen money, how he paid it back, and now having 1 million naira saved to start a small business for their mother, right in front of their house so she wouldn't be bored. When he finished, his mother and sister sat silently, staring at him with solemn expressions. "You guys should say something. Aren't you happy?" Epheani asked, confused. "You went through all that alone? Why didn't you say anything?" Ujunwa asked tearfully. "Come on, it's all in the past. Besides, talking about it would have only made it worse." Epheani waved off. "God bless you, my son," Madame Ogechi said, relieved that at least things were looking up. That night, Epheani slept comfortably for the first time since he started working for his uncle. 1 month later, Madame Ogechi had started a POS and snacks business in front of their house. She fried ground nuts with chin-chin and sold them under an umbrella, with a table and chair set up in their compound. Although her business isn't going quite well, she's still grateful to God. Epheani, her son, was still working as a conductor, which worried her deeply. Yet, she never stopped praying for her children. One night, Epheani came back from work and was relaxing outside when his phone rang. Because it was a strange number, he ignored the call, but it kept ringing until he finally decided to answer. "Hello? Who is this?" Epheani asked. "I can't believe you didn't save my number," came a woman's voice. "Epheani, it's me, the woman whose box you found a month ago." "Oh, good evening, Ma," Epheani replied politely. "How are you?" she asked. "Fine, Ma," he responded. "Epheani, I know I haven't reached out in a while because I've been very busy, but I want to ask you something. Would you like to go abroad?" Epheani paused, stunned. "What did you say?" he asked, wanting to be sure. "I have a spot open for someone to come abroad with me. All my children are overseas with their families, but I want to stay in Nigeria for some time. So I thought of you. Would you like to come instead?" Epheani couldn't believe what he was hearing. He didn't know whether to say yes or no. He was confused. It's all right. Take your time to think about it. Talk it over with your family. I'll call you in a week, okay? Don't worry about anything. I'll take care of your passport and flight ticket. All you need is your hustling spirit. I'll provide accommodation too." "Okay, Ma. Thank you very much," Epheani said, grateful, then disconnected the call. After hanging up, the first person he called was his elder brother to share the news. "What did you tell her?" Chibuike asked, after Epheani finished. "I couldn't say anything. It's still a shock to me. I mean, how could I go from being a conductor at the park to being offered a spot abroad?" Epheani chuckled nervously. Chibuike sighed deeply. "I understand, brother, but think it through. It's a good opportunity. Honestly, you're a graduate, and working as a conductor is an insult to your education. So think it over and give her a positive reply." "You're right." Epheani nodded as if his brother were right there with him. "I'll discuss it with Mummy and Ujunwa tomorrow. By the way, how are your wife and child?" "They're good. Just let me know what you decide tomorrow, all right?" "Okay, bro. Good night," Epheani said and disconnected. "Was that your brother?" Jinika asked, sitting up on their bed. "Yeah," Chibuike replied, joining her. "He said a woman he helped recover her lost bag, with valuables inside, offered to send him abroad." Ginika's expression darkened. Are you sure she's not a scammer? How can someone just offer to send you abroad like that?" Chibuike shrugged. "My brother's lucky. If she's genuine, I wish him well." "Your brother is lucky, but I'm stuck with you. That's unlucky, Michiu." She sneered and turned away to sleep. Not wanting any trouble, Chibuike avoided her and went to bed. The next morning, Epheani informed his mother and sister about the woman's offer. At first, they were scared and refused outright. What if she wasn't genuine? But after Epheani called the woman and she spoke with Madam Ogechi on the phone, promising to visit them in person when she brings Epheani's visa, they finally softened. And just like that, Epheani began preparations to go abroad. He got a cheap Android phone, restored his WhatsApp, and sent the woman copies of his ID card and passport for the visa application. A month later, the woman called to say his visa was ready and that she would visit that evening to give it to him and meet his family. After work that day, Epheani took his boss, Alaska, out to buy him a drink to thank him for helping him when he needed it most. "So, you won't be coming back to the park?" Alaska asked, opening his bottle with his teeth. "I think I've worked enough here. If I stay longer, I fit forget say I be graduate," Epheani replied in broken English for the very first time. They both laughed. "That's true," Alaska nodded. "So you're going abroad?" Epheani smiled and nodded. I still can't believe it, but it's God's doing. Congratulations, fine Bobo. Hope you don't forget me, Alaska teased. That one no fit happen. You're my boss who came through for me. I can't thank you enough, but be rest assured, I'll definitely come back to repay you. Alaska laughed. That's nothing. You're a good person, Epheani. I've never had a conductor as good as you. I'll miss you well. Me too. I'll miss you, but I'll definitely come back, Epheani assured him. They drank in silence, occasionally reminiscing and laughing about old times. After spending time with Alaska, Epheani went home to be with his family because, according to the woman helping him, she would bring his visa tomorrow morning and his flight was in 3 days. He wanted to spend as much time as possible with them because the next time he would see them, it might be in 5 or 6 years.